Okay guys, welcome again. I'm going to do a quick tutorial to show you how to get your Sony a7 III settings perfect in camera so you don't have to do the grading later on your poor 8-bit Sony. The purpose of all of these tutorials is to try and get you to do at least adjustments as possible and save them for your aesthetic look and not trying to get perfect skin or get perfect white balance. You want that to be handled inside the camera. So these are the settings, and if you stick to these, you'll be okay. I want to show you a few examples to illustrate my point, and let's go ahead and do it in DaVinci. Then I'll probably do it in Premiere, because at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say to you is you don't really need to do much at all. So let's get cracking. This is an underexposed image, which is the worst thing you should do. Previous tutorial back there, but I picked this one because it's a little bit more difficult. So great, we've parked our image and now we can get cracking. So let's, I'm not going to go with HDR. Of course we would if we wanted to fine tune it, but let's just run and gun, okay? This is running and gunning, got to get the job done. So get your waveform out. Start stretching your image. I'm not going to stretch my shadows, even though here they're clipped, because if they're clipped, there's very little you could do. Maybe just raise the low soft a little bit. I'm just going to mess with my gamma and my gain just to lift up this waveform curve over here. So let's go ahead, lift up the image. And now let's go ahead and really pull those highlights up, okay? So that's looking good. Now we're going to take our little curves and just tilt it down a little bit, which adds a little bit of contrast. Now I'm done with my exposure and I've pulled up the shadows. We're going to remember this at the end because we need to recover the blacks where they are by desaturating those grays, and that's luma versus sat. So don't ever forget to do that when you're raising shadows. Okay guys, so the image is pretty much done. All we need to do now is get a node to add a little bit of contrast and a little bit of saturation. Again, very small tweaks go a long way, especially with a Sony. And I'm already happy. Let's see what the skin looks like. Go to the vector scope, make sure your skin indicator's on, get your power window. Let's make a little mask around the skin. There's a slight hue of magenta in there, which we're gonna just, with tint, I can just dial that down, but let's see what the vector scope says. And turn the highlights on. Okay, boom, you're a little bit on the magenta side, okay? So all we need to do is to take that sting off, is just dial it down a little bit, and we are done. Image is done. We've only got two more things to do to really adjust this image. The first one's going to be the denoise, turn the highlights off, because we've created a significant amount of noise, I know that, especially in the shaded areas that have been raised. That always happens when you try to recover information that isn't really there. DaVinci, everybody's going to try and do their best, but that's as far as they go. Okay, so just a little bit of denoise. I'm already happy with that. And now all we have to do is recover the blacks. Okay, so take a look at this. You see all this red and all this magenta? That's not her hair. She's not supposed to be like that, okay? So we need to recover that, and the best way to do that is with luma versus saturation. So I'm going to take the luma of the shaded areas, which belongs here, and I'm going to desaturate it. So I'm going to put a node here, and I'm going to show you what I mean. Let's go the other way. Let's saturate it. Boom. You see all that red? That's not there. There. That's where it's supposed to be. So I can just dial that down like this, and we have recovered our blacks where they were supposed to be. Look again, and on and off. Very important when you're raising shadows, okay? So now we're just going to do two more things. We are going to give her a little bit of MD detail. We're going to drop it to about -25. That's the magic sauce. Makes her skin nice and smooth, and I'm going to try and recover some of that lost detail by increasing the sharpness ever so little. And we're done, guys. Look at this image. Everything was already in camera. We didn't have to go through the primaries. We didn't have to adjust anything. It's all done for you, okay? Boom.